Hi everyone and welcome to our channel Age Gap Love Story. I'm Carrie.
And I'm Alan.
And we are a married couple with a 32-and-a-half-year age gap. And we're doing something a little differently today. Rather than recording a podcast and then putting the video up on YouTube, we're actually recording this just for YouTube. So I don't know that we're going to separate the audio and put it on the podcast. We're experimenting with some changes here in 2021. And that is January 1st, 2021. That's today. So Happy New Year to all of our viewers.
Not only happy 2021, but many, many happy years of the future.
Yes. And I know a lot of people, including us, are happy to move along from 2020, although, quite frankly, not much has changed now that it's January 1st, 2021. Things are still the same. We live in California, and our state and our county, our city, we're still in lockdown. We're really not supposed to be leaving our house except for essential purposes like going to the grocery store and essential appointments. I don't know if it's the same where you live. I would love if you want to leave a comment. Tell us how you're doing, what your situation is where you live. But again, our state of California here in the United States is pretty dire. We hear every night on the news that the ICU beds are filling up and things like that. So we're being really careful. Alan is a tender age of 78 and a half, and he's a former smoker, bad boy. So he is high risk for the virus and not having a good outcome.
That's me. Born to be wild. Woo.
So we're trying to be really careful. We have been.
Not anymore. Not wild anymore. No, maybe a mild wild.
Well, now you're a tamed man.
I'm housebroken.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But we thought today, to celebrate this new year, we would do an episode just with some of our reflections from 2020. It sure was a learning experience, I'm sure for you too. So we thought it would be kind of interesting to maybe think about some of the things we learned and then share some of our goals and our plans for this new year. So we have a few questions that we're going to go through, and I can't take credit for these questions. I think they're really good, and they came from a local yoga instructor. I'm signed up for her weekly newsletter, and she sent these out, and I thought they were really great. She meant them as to be like a journal entry, but I thought we would do them verbally here on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, she's a local yogal.
So let's get serious now, and we are going to talk about, I'm going to make you go first, our most treasured moment. Oh, and by the way, I will put these questions in the description box below, so if you want to look at them and go through them yourself, they'll be there for you. So what was your most treasured moment from 2020?
Well, we have a very close friend who is not in our immediate area, and on her last visit, which I think was February
of 2020.
Yes, our friend Shoshana. She's quite a naturalist and knows a great deal about many areas, including the one we live in, more than we do actually. And she took us to the area where the elephant seals come ashore to breed and have their pups. And we spent a morning there this past February. And that was really quite a moment, I think, for both of us, because it gave us an exposure to, I don't know, the continuing and everlasting beauty, the continuity of nature. It was right at the shore where the elephants came up onto the beach to see how they interact with one another and to see the babies and the mothers. And it was just, it was a beautiful experience. And it sort of shows that, nature is an everlasting thing, an adapting thing. And it's the strength of nature. And it was a beautiful day, and it was wonderful to be with Shoshana and have that personal experience, spending the day with her and going on to lunch, which was delightful. Something that we sorely missed as the months rolled by after this past February 2020 because of the virus and the restrictions on our ability to associate with our friends and family.
Yeah, and just to set the stage even more, this area is in a part of the central coast of California. It's called San Simeon. It's where Hearst Castle is. If you have not been to California, that's a place you should definitely go. And actually, it was the afternoon when we went because we went to Hearst Castle in the morning, and then Shoshana knew about this kind of secret area. So I think we had lunch and then we went to see the elephant seals, and we parked in a parking area, and then she showed us where you could hike south. We hiked maybe about a mile. We went through Poison Oak, and it was kind of a rugged hike, but it was incredible. I would say that was a special moment for me too. Although when I answered this question, my most treasured moment, I think, was for the first time I gave a violin concert. And I am learning the violin. I'm not very good, but I think it was in around August or September. I invited my friends to a Zoom and family members to a Zoom concert, and I played a selection of pieces that I had memorized, and it was just meaningful for me to have my friends there just solely for the purpose of supporting me and listening to me. And again, I'm not very good, so it's not like they were there to listen to a concert violinist. You know, it was me scratching along on my violin. But that was, I guess you could say, a treasured moment because it made me feel really loved and supported. Okay, this, of course, is the question we've all thought about, I think. What has been the biggest challenge of 2020, or what was the biggest challenge of 2020? Do you want to go first?
Yes. In one word, isolation. Not being able to interact with family, friends, even people in general, avoiding groups, except on shopping trips to markets. But we have been overly cautious, as Carrie mentioned. I would be considered high risk. I probably have a bullseye on my back for the virus. So Carrie has been helping me, and we've been very protective for both of us because if Carrie's exposed, then of course I would be exposed. So isolation is it's been uncomfortable, and I think maybe we deal with it better than other people uh, because of our personalities, and we have each other and our cats, and a nice place to live. So I'm sure for others it's been a very painful experience, but even for us, it's had an effect.
And so then the follow-on question is, how is this a learning opportunity, this challenge? And then how does it encourage you to grow or change?
Well, it's an adaptation, being able to learn how to deal with a new environment, one that's not particularly pleasant, but you have to adapt to survive. And I think that's a common trait for most humans, and that's why we're here and a lot of other species aren't. So it's a question of learning how to deal with the change and our circumstances and hanging on until things improve.
And so for me, when I answer this question, I'd say my biggest challenge this year has been the fear of getting sick, or the fear of Alan getting sick and having, you hear these stories about people who have to go into the ICU and go on a ventilator. So the fear has been my biggest challenge, just managing that and working through it. And then I think the learning opportunity for me facing this fear, I've had to think about how would I survive. Maybe there's things I can do now to prepare myself to be without Alan. I mean, we've been together for so long that you know what it's like when you have been with somebody for a long time. You get used to they like Alan manages our finances and things like that. So I have made a few changes, like maybe being more in control of my bank account and preparing for the possibility of maybe I need to pay the bills because Alan is unable to or Alan's not around. The next question is, how can I take this learning forward and show the universe that I am ready to transform from the inside?
I think it makes me more appreciative of the things that we've lost during the pandemic. I mean, obviously, some of us have lost dear friends, family. Fortunately for us, although we do have some acquaintances that have had the virus and some are still dealing with it, they're not immediate, very close friends and no family so far. But it does make us appreciate sort of the tenuous nature of life and having missed the ability, as I mentioned earlier, to associate with people, our friends, our family. And so I think it's given us a greater appreciation for that, and something that we'll cherish even more when we can do that again in the future after the virus has come under control. And hopefully that will happen sooner rather than later.
And for me, I feel like by focusing more on my self-sufficiency and making sure that I can take care of myself, it definitely has helped my self-confidence and made me trust my intuition more, because I think I am an intuitive person, but because a normal life before the pandemic, I would have a lot more influences around me, maybe society or friends, that kind of thing. And so by being more, what's the word? By being more isolated this year, I've looked more into myself than having outer influences. And I think that looking inward has made me trust myself more. And I think that's something I want to hold on to. Actually, that's for me been a silver lining of this experience, is that I do feel more trusting in myself, and just that, like that feeling of when you know what's right for you, but then maybe you question it once you tell other people about it. But for me, it's like holding on to that feeling of what I know is right, and just taking that with me along my life. So the last question is, what is my personal intention for 2021? And Kelly, the lady who wrote these questions, said, an intention is a positive statement written in the present tense. For example, I am living authentically and openly sharing my love. And she suggested to write out this intention and place it around your house as a reminder to repeat it often, helping to support your consciousness in bringing these positive qualities forward. I really, really like that. I don't know that I'm going to put it around our house, but I think having it written down, and then in times of challenge or times of feeling weak or scared, then having this written down, I think, would be a good reminder. So I'll go first. My intention for 2021 is that my intuition guides me in my life that is lived fully, intentionally, and without fear. That's my intention for 2021. My intuition guides me in my life that is lived fully, intentionally, and without fear.
Mine is I am better able to deal with difficult circumstances. I am growing in uh, my level of patience with difficult situations, and I am looking forward to an ever increasing positive environment, and I am looking forward to a return to normalcy.
All right.
All right.
So that So that wraps up this little mini episode of our thoughts about 2020, our intentions and goals for 2021. We hope that you are having a great start to your new year, and we look forward to connecting with you in the days and weeks and months to come.
Yes, yes. All the best again for a better, wonderful 2021 and every year in the